Hello, everybody, and welcome to Every Movie Ever. I'm your host, Eric, and this is the show where we're trying to review every movie ever made, starting today with the Brady Bunch movie. You guys, why do I like this movie? I like this movie quite a bit, and I'm really not sure why. In part because I don't really care for the Brady Bunch, the TV show. It was not a show that ever really appealed to me, even though I was an avid viewer of Nick at Night when I was a kid. Brady Bunch, and and not just Nick at Night, but Gilligan's Island reruns in the afternoon on TBS and all that kind of stuff. Brady Bunch just never really appealed to me, and maybe that's why I can enjoy this movie, because I don't have a previous association with the Brady Bunch beyond, that sort of general cultural knowledge of who the Bradys are and what it's all about and all that kind of thing. There was, and because of that, I'm not really actively comparing the movie to the show. A counterexample to this might be Star Trek. I'm a big, long-time Star Trek fan, and I definitely have trouble getting into the more recent Star Trek movies, the ones with Chris Pine, etc. And while I would argue that I think that's because these most recent Star Trek movies are by and large just not very good, I cannot discount the fact that I am actively thinking about that original Star Trek cast and the original Star Trek shows and movies, and that might be getting in the way of my ability to enjoy them on their own terms. But again, I don't have that problem with the Brady Bunch. And similarly, I didn't have that problem with kind of that whole slate of mid-90s TV show movie adaptations. I also have a ton of affection for the Addams Family movies, even though I had not really watched the Addams Family TV show. I also really liked the Beverly Hillbillies movie when I was younger. Haven't revisited that one, though, and I suspect it maybe doesn't hold up as well, but who knows? Because again, when I revisited the Brady Bunch movie, I found myself liking it probably just as much as I liked it before. It is a goofy, fun movie, and I think that a big part of why and how it succeeds is its basic premise, which was to bring the Bradys into the 90s, but to change nothing about either the 90s or the Bradys. So that this is not, a TV utopia world that they are living in, as they did in their 70s show. And similarly, this is not a 90s update of the Bradys. These are the 70s white bread version of the Bradys brought into the 90s, and that conflict, conflict, is terrific. It's really fun. All the scenes where they brush up against the 90s are really fun, as are just the scenes amongst the Bradys themselves with their, sort of over-the-top, wholesome performances. Gary Cole plays Mike Brady. I'm always a big fan of Gary Cole, and he shines here. Shelley Long also really shines as Mrs. Brady. They're the two, arguably, I don't know, it's really an ensemble movie. I guess I can't call them the leads, but they really anchor everything, and they, along with the rest of the cast playing the Bradys, very smartly never wink at the camera. It is in many ways sort of an inverse of the Addams Family movies, which take a very similar tact to the, showing that contrast of the Addamses versus modern society, although one could argue that was always their deal. Another highlight of this movie for me has got to be Jan, played by Jennifer Elise Cox, an actress who I don't think really did anything else beyond this movie and its aptly named sequel. Her portrayal of Jan is terrific. Jan is, of course, the middle daughter who is known to audiences, at least today, largely for her jealousy of older sister Marcia. Here they really ratchet that up. They give Jan these internal voices that are goading her and coaxing her, and those are very funny. And Jennifer Elise Cox is very funny as Jan. Jan, in many ways, is a standout character in this movie, and it makes me wish we had seen more from Ms. Cox. The Brady Bunch movie, despite, I don't want to say despite itself, but despite perhaps the notions of what a Brady Bunch movie could be, is darn entertaining. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. And don't forget to visit our website, northmetrotv.com/everymovieever. There, you can watch reviews of every movie we've ever covered here on the show, as well as complete episodes. That's northmetrotv.com/everymovieever.